Oi, welcome back. In the last video, we learned about the Vray material shader and the different parameters like reflection, refraction, and bump, which are needed to create a realistic material. In the next series of videos, we are going to be putting this knowledge to practical use by trying our hands on various material types. We'll learn how to create a paint material, a metallic material, wood, and finally a glossy ceramic material. This scene already has a dome light setup with an HDR image, so our renders won't render out black. To begin, create 4 spheres for the 4 materials we'll be creating. If you don't know how to do this, consider watching one of my previous videos where I talk about the basics of Maya before you progress. Don't worry, I'll wait for you. Welcome back, all those who left and are now returning, hopefully with the knowledge to create a sphere. You can go ahead and create 4 spheres now. Scale them up to any size you want. Position them wherever you want. It doesn't really matter, just make sure they are visible and that there are 4 of them. Remember, you can just create one sphere and use Ctrl D to duplicate it many times. Now create a Vray material for the first sphere and head over to the attribute editor and change the material name to paint. Start up the Vray IPR so we can get a preview of what's going on in the scene. If your rig doesn't support the IPR, you can just start a test render instead. In the IPR, we can see all 4 of our spheres and the HDRI. Open the light lister from the Vray shelf. It's a literal light bulb. You can't miss it. You're going to make the dome light invisible because it's kind of distracting and the grass is kind of ugly, to be honest. But it was the first HDRI I ever used, so I keep it around for sentimental reasons and not just because I'm too lazy to try out a different one. Pause the IPR and head over to the outliner. Rename the selected sphere, the one we assigned the Vray material to. Maya adds a number because there's already an asset named paint, the paint material we created earlier, and you can't have duplicate names in Maya, ever. Even when the names are assigned to different types, in this case a sphere and a material. Hide the other spheres by shift selecting all of them in the outliner and pressing H on the keyboard. Close the outliner and unpause the IPR. If you aren't using the IPR, now may be a good time to open up the hypershade, so you can preview the material there. If you don't know about the hypershade, no worries, I've got you covered. I already made a video of it right here. Check it out, it has motion graphics, which are cool, I guess. Open up the attribute editor or the property editor if you're in the hypershade, and let's start messing around with some of the values. First, the diffuse color. I think I'm going to go with blue paint because blue is my favorite color. I'm going to go with light blue and decrease the saturation quite a bit. Now you may think you are done because after all it's paint. You can just change the color and be on your way. But if you want to create a realistic material, you have to know that almost every material reflects lights. That's how we are able to see them, because the light reflected from them enters our eyes from an image. In order to mimic reality, we need to give our materials subtle reflections, even the ones that seem that they don't reflect anything. So I'm going to increase the reflection color and increase the reflection glossiness, so I get matte reflections. You don't really see any changes here, but it does make a difference in the render as a whole. Be careful though, because reflections add to render time, so if you don't have a really powerful rig, you might want to use this sparingly. Let's change the paint color to red, my second favorite color, and now you start to see the effect of those reflections. The sphere looks just a tiny bit more believable.